be a few discomforts in my physical body as they're out of sync. So it's called cognitive dissonance. When my thoughts are not aligned with my behaviors, then it becomes very important to bring my behaviors in alignment with my thoughts, and then the cognitive dissonance and the physical discomfort are eradicated or eliminated.
So it's almost as though the body is just working a little bit more slowly to show us the same change that we're able to get to faster in our minds.
Well, the physical body is dense, whereas the mind is very ethereal. So I can change my mind like that. My behaviors take just a little bit more time of getting comfortable with, being committed to, and then the meridians in my body realign themselves so that when this now happens, this new thought, this new desire, there is a comfort with exhibiting it. And now, as that comfort develops, I am also developing more cellular memory that supports this new behavior, and then eventually they're in sync, so there's no more discomfort. Just recently, on October the 24th, we did an in-house workshop on layman's body. And within the next week or so, there's going to be a package available of the audio tapes that relate to this type of sequencing, and also a lot of printed material. So if anybody's interested, they can go online and they can look it up themselves. And if they're curious or they're interested, they can also order that package.
Great. Thank you, Homer. That was interesting, as always. And we'll move on to the next question now.
Thank you.
And this also comes from one of the chats. This person wrote in a chat, you mentioned that speaking is a vibration that can disrupt or encourage a pattern that is unfolding. And she writes, I know I feel better when I can talk through things. And she wants to know if you can explain more about how and why this works, what this speaking vibration does, and how it makes us feel better. Does that make sense?
Yes. It's more multi-leveled. Yeah, I think we need to look at where we learn to be silent first. Within this culture, although we may or may not be aware of it, the vast majority of houses or homes still adhere to the children should be seen and not heard. Still adhere to the tabula rasa, the children are born a blank slate and it's up to us to educate them in how to be the right person. Or just not pay attention to what our children say. And most of us have gone through that experience, and what we've learned to do is to shut up and say nothing. To pay attention to what's expected of us, to absorb that information and react from that place. What that does is it moves everything into either our chest, second dantian, or it moves it into our forehead, which is first dantian. Now, so either we've learned to adhere to black and white through the forehead, or we've learned to be very aware of the emotional outcome that we desire, and then learn how to quickly manipulate the situation to get what we want as far as what we feel, but not necessarily what we want as far as a physical outcome. So pleasing you, for example, may be the most important thing that I know how to do, because it keeps me from being criticized or judged or whatever the situation.
Right. Okay. Or from punishment.
Punishment is huge. And for an empathic child, punishment may simply be the emotional attitude that that primary caregiver has shown me at one or a couple of times or a few times when they are displeased with me not having done exactly what it is that they didn't tell me they wanted but expected me to understand.
The D word, disappointment.
The disappointment, which is a punishment for us. Be we telepathic or empathic, every child on this, or left hemisphere, every child on this planet wants one thing, and that is to feel as if they are loved, feel as if they belong, and feel as if they have a place that supports them and cares for them. Now, if I'm picking up cognitively or empathically that something I am saying, something I am doing is displeasing to you from a very young age, and you are my world, then I will do whatever it takes to twist myself into the pattern that I think you want. That really doesn't make for any great success, because the next time you're going to want something else, or I'm going to do exactly the same thing and not get the same result. So I learned to shut up, and I learned to turn on a dime anything that I may have wanted, or sadly, we often just giving up wanting anything and just do what we're told. Now, as I learn to use my voice again, and it will vary from person to person. Sometimes what happens is in fifth level situations, for example, where I'm dealing with a clerk in the store, or a bank teller, or just somebody who's being of service. Then I get angry or resentful when it's not exactly what I want, not because I'm a nasty person, but I've learned that that's how things should be, because that's how I have to be. So why aren't you being who I've learned to be? The most critical, the most valuable, the most effective way of learning how to change that behavioral pattern is in the intimate relationships in our lives. Choosing one person that you feel safe enough, not completely safe because it won't happen. We've not learned to feel completely safe in any situation. Because of the variability often that we experience in our childhood, so how can you be safe when things are always changing? So we learn that change is not healthy, so we try to make things consistent. The only way we can do that is self-control. I don't change. So, the most efficient way of doing it is to find someone in your intimate circle that you feel the most safe with and ask them for help. That's automatically using your voice. And it's also exercising the third positive gift of fire, which is pleasure, having what I really want. Now I'm starting to identify what I want. And what I may ask you to do is help me recognize when I'm being silent. And not prod me to talk, but maybe simply ask me, do you have something you want to say? Or do you have something you want to add? For the first time in my life, somebody that I trust, or I'm learning to trust, is asking me if I have something to say. That's freaking huge. It has never happened before, and why is it happening? Because I'm asking you to support me in learning that I have a voice. Unless I ask, unless I'm aware, it's impossible for other people to know just what it is that I can do, or that I have when I want. As an empath or a telepath, and let's presume that the intimate relationship is with another right hemisphere person. If I'm feeling frustrated on the inside in this experience, they're going to be picking up my frustration. Mm-hmm. And unless I've explained to them what that frustration is about, they will not know what to do with it. But now if I say to you, you know, Cal, many times in my life I've agreed to something or simply automatically went off and done something that I really regretted and learned to resent later on, and I'm tired of that. And especially in this relationship, I don't want that to happen. So if you could give me the gift of just questioning me and asking me, giving me the opportunity to use my voice by simply saying, are you okay with this? You know, is there something you want to add to it? Without having expectation. Because I may not know what I have to say. And, you know, depending on the relationship again, and depending how buried I am in that silence, I may ask you to also remind me that I don't have to speak immediately. That you will be there to hear if I have something to contribute 5 minutes down the road, the 10 or 10, 10 minutes or 10 and 10 feet, mm-hmm. or maybe the next day, or maybe somewhere in the process when I realize this is not going in the direction I want. But you are giving me permission. And I'm asking you to do that. And it takes a lot for me to ask. Mm-hmm. Nonetheless, because I know you love me on some level, I may not be able to identify it, but I know you're there for me, so that's love in one form. Then I'm going to have